All right, we're out back here, probably one of my favorite spots in this entire facility. It's beautiful indoors, but it's awesome out back. We've got this long strip, probably 50 yards, I would say, out back. It is concrete, right? So I try not to sprint out here too often, but weather's getting too nice to not be out here for some of our sprints. So we're going about 15 yards as we accelerate here uphill, pretty consistent incline. So we're gonna do some constrained runs to start. We've been building these up, so we're trying to accelerate, right? The angle of this hill is gonna make our foot, that front foot contact a little faster, so it's similar to accelerating. So I'm just trying to push as fast as I can up the hill. We're gonna use the PVC pipe on the back to not allow the upper body to get involved. I'm just trying to feel a ton of rotation as I go through here side to side as I'm accelerating. So we got 4 to 6 of these build up sprints here, and then we're gonna drop the PVC pipe, and then we're just gonna send, we'll go about 3 to 4 of these top speed sprints. We're accelerating from the bottom line here again up to about 15 yards, and I've got another probably 40 yards, 30 or 40 yards on the other side to slow down. All right, and then I'm gonna take the mic off because I've been sprinting and the mic comes off. It's fine if it lands on the turf, not fine if it lands on this concrete. So we got our first working set here of the sprints. Because there's not as much output here, because I've got the PVC pipe up top, I don't need as much time to recover in between sets. So I'm basically just finishing my sprint, walking down, putting the PVC pipe on my back and sending it again. I will rest a little longer once I'm able to fully maximize my sprint using my arms and all of that. But for now, I don't need a ton of rest time because this is maybe with the PVC pipe 60, 70% of my max output. So don't need as much rest time here. Speed is a massive quality of athleticism. So if you want to be athletic and you're pursuing athleticism, and if you're watching this video and the title of my page is The Athletic Dad, I assume it's because you are pursuing athleticism. So you need to be sprinting once a week, minimum effective dose. You can make a lot of progress in 6 to 12 weeks of sprinting. As the weather gets nicer, as we get into the summer here out in Cleveland, I'm gonna be heading to the track, probably sprinting twice a week. So we'll have one acceleration-based day. So it's like this, where we're covering 15 to 30 yards, and we're gonna have a top speed day. And this summer, I'm really gonna try to push my max velo, so my top speed. We're gonna run some 40s, test some 40s as we get into kind of a combine phase of training. Because I really think now at 38, I'm more athletic than I was when I was 21 and competing in college football and did my pro day. So I'm gonna try to beat my 40 from my pro day, which I think was some good intentional training, unlike we had back in 2004 when I had my pro day. I really feel like we're gonna be able to make some progress and beat that, and that'd be pretty cool to beat a number from 20 years ago, especially a number that some people think can only be accomplished when you're young. I'm trying to prove that is a thing that you can do and you can improve as you grow up, as you become a father, as you get older. If you can continue to train consistently and intentionally, I really do believe that's a number that you can move up. And that number I'm talking about is our top speed, our max velocity. So how fast, how many miles an hour we're running. And that'll be tested through 10s, 20s, and 40-yard sprints. Last one here, I like to cut these off when I feel like I've reached basically my max speed through the constraint. So with this PVC pipe, I can only move so fast. So I feel like I'm pretty much got to my top speed. I'm pretty warm. I got a good sweat going on. So we'll finish this one, then we'll rip our 15-yard uphill acceleration. And because we can't run as fast as possible, we can't hit max velo when we are constrained or resisted. That's a reason why the first 6 weeks of the Athletic Dad training program, all of our sprints will be done with resistance. So either uphill, pushing a sled, or pulling a sled, because I don't want to expose people to sprinting for the first time in, let's say, 5 to 10 years, giving them the opportunity to hit max velocity. That just wouldn't be smart. So we're doing the resisted runs because of that fact that we can't hit our top speed, we can't hit max velo. So we want to expose ourselves slowly to those top end speeds. Even when we go 100% with a 45-pound plate or 90 pounds that we're dragging behind us, there's no way we're gonna be able to hit top speed, right? So that's why the first 6 weeks, we're slowly exposing those. And then after those first 6 weeks, then we start getting into top speed sprints. And then a lot of our concurrent stuff that we have coming out here, again, I'm a bit backed up in video, so I don't know exactly when this is gonna come out, but eventually Athletic Dad Concurrent will be on Train Heroic, so you can train right along with me, do everything I'm doing with the same style as Athletic Dad. So 3 training days a week, about 3 hours, 3.5 hours total that you're gonna need to train for that. We're gonna sprint once a week, we're gonna jump daily, we're gonna hit compound movements for strength, ISOs, and mobility, flexibility work for longevity and health. But by the time we get into that concurrent training, when we do the resisted sprints, it's basically gonna be in a complex, right? So we've got a goal of, let's say, power output or horizontal force production. That's when I like to use some of those different resistance techniques. And then we're also gonna include a lot, like we had mentioned, some of that high velo stuff. All right, 4 good reps here. Try to move as fast as we can. We're gonna get all the way up to the hill and then kind of cruise as long as it takes us to finish up. Also adding a little more rest time in here. If you think about sprinting artistically, or think about sprinting more of like an expression of movement and fluidity, there need to be times in your sprint training where you are focusing on positions, you're focusing on being fluid, you're focusing on being smooth. And that's what I like to use the frame of when I'm doing some of my resisted or constrained runs. I'm just trying to be smooth, I'm trying to feel good, I want it to look good. And then when we get into our max output work, our max velo work, that's where we really just want output. So here, I'm not really thinking about much. I'm trying to shut my brain off and I'm just trying to run as fast as I possibly can. There's gotta be a good balance between the two, because if you don't have the fluidity and you're not smooth and not comfortable, then you can put yourself in a tough position when you try to get to top speed and just have the timing off and it feel funny. Also expose yourself to some things you don't necessarily want to be exposed to. So when you are doing some of the warm-up work, that's why the A skips and the B skips and those things are okay, because you're just trying to train fluidity and rhythm. You're not training an A skip or doing a B skip because you know that's gonna make you faster. You're doing it so you are comfortable and rhythmic and fluid in your runs. And then once you're settled there and that all feels good, that's when you shut the brain off and really rip. So my last rep here. So we came out here at 8:15, started warming up. It's now 8:45, so 30 minutes. We had nice little dynamic warm up and then 8 really good exposures to sprints. You might think you don't have time to sprint, but we just need 30 minutes once a week. Pretty simple to recover from after you've done it for a while, but there shouldn't be any excuses. Again, if you're trying to pursue athleticism and you're trying to be able to jump and run and climb and crawl and play with your kids and be capable, you gotta be sprinting once a week. So add this in, 30 minutes a day, once a week, dude, and your athleticism is just gonna take off.